Okay, so as you can see, it's really dark in here. We're gonna do a video today on how to take Instagram photos. So I'm kind of gonna walk through everything, which is why it's still dark in here. So my apartment, even though it's completely sunny outside, broad daylight, this is as light as it gets during the day, except maybe in the morning a little bit of sun comes through. At least in this part, which is where the hard floor is to film or take videos and photos. I have carpet in the rooms that actually get sun, of course. So what we're gonna do first, we're going to turn on lots of lights. And I mean lots. Like, I'm gonna turn on my kitchen light here because this little thing that goes through, it's lighting me up more. The only thing is I don't love that that light behind me is there, but then we're also gonna turn on this dining room light because I have found I can take some photos in here and it's not bad, but I just feel like I still am struggling to find the right setup in this place that I've lived now since November. My last apartment, I figured it out. I knew exactly where to set my phone, camera, whatever. It was great. This one I'm still kind of figuring out. Obviously I've got like the floor and bar in here. And honestly, I think the bookshelves look kind of nice. The TV, I always get annoyed that it's in the photos, but there's not really a way around that. And then I'm gonna turn on my little branch light here because sometimes it looks cool. It's kind of like got the fairy light effect. So we're just gonna turn this on. And now, this provides, so with all these lights now, it kind of looks like this behind me. And like, if I turn this one off just so that it's not like in my photos, it's not bad. I can still get a decent amount of light out of these. So I may just leave that one off. You kind of got to play around with your lighting and see how that works. And then, so I've got this on a little tripod, so I'm gonna set it down now. We'll see how well you all can see me. I'm not changing out of this because if you have spirit jerseys, you know, once you're in them, you're kind of in them between makeup and hair. I put on a skirt that I thought went with my spirit jersey look. This is from Ballet Skirts by Lucinda. It's one of her reversible ones. So I thought it just worked with this, and then I have the little shorts that I always use underneath. And then got some white shoes on. So you can kind of play around with your own settings. This goes with how and where you set up your settings as well. So I personally, in my old apartment, that bookshelf that's tall there was like directly in front of where I would practice. And I would set my phone in this little phone stand that I got off Amazon. And I took most of my photos and videos just by setting that there. I knew exactly how to put it, and the photos always looked really good, like the angle did. I don't know what the difference is with this apartment, but I can't seem to get it right. Whether I set it on this little island thing here, which is where I have stuff set right now, and that's usually where I have stuff set, and then my mirror is right here, so when I'm doing classes, or I can kind of see what I'm doing. The problem is I tend to look in the mirror for photos, and then I'm not looking at the camera. The other option I've played around with is why I have this tripod here with the little phone mount on it, is sometimes I'll set it back in here and then I'll angle it into the room in here. But again, I haven't quite figured out the angle for some reason. So that's still something I'm playing around with. And you kind of got to see what works for you. My old apartment, I used to use, old apartment, like way old. I used my camera a lot with a wider lens, which sometimes I'll do now. I've just taken to using my phone the most because it's just so easy to take your own on it. But I would like prop up my phone or my camera against like a candle like this or something and set it in front of, let me see if I still have it in here. Yeah, in front of one of these little tiny mirrors that I got from Target, so I could see, like looking down, it usually was feet, like images of my feet or something, but sometimes I would angle it up from there. And I'll try and show one of those. I'm gonna set all this up in a minute and show you guys. I'm just kind of giving you ideas at the moment. So there's a lot of things you can do. With the phone, at least with the iPhone, I don't know about Androids because I don't have one of those. At least with the iPhone, you can set the timer on this. That's why I use my watch a lot, because I'll use my watch as the remote shutter for it. It actually will show you the picture of what you're seeing, and then it gives you like a 3-second timer. So, you know, you're always gonna get hit or miss shots when you're trying to photograph yourself. Even if you have a photographer or someone helping you, you're still gonna get hit and miss shots, especially with ballet. Try and find unique angles. Sometimes I'll set my phone up just right in front of my feet and do portrait mode to kind of get those cool like point shoe shots. And then if you use a camera, you can set, like most cameras will have like a custom timer that you can set. Or just a standard timer that's like 10 seconds, it'll take a shot. I have this one set up that it's 12 seconds because it gives me a little bit longer time to prepare if I'm like not in here and I'm outside somewhere. But it gives me a little bit longer time. And then it takes 14 photos, I think, in succession. And I think I put it at like 1 second or a half second in, I don't know why this is out of focus. I put it about a ½ second in between each photo. So that way I'll just keep moving, keep trying to hold a pose. If I fell out of one, I'll hold it again. You know, you get a little more, you're gonna get a lot of hit and miss shots. You're gonna get weird angles, things like that, but it's an option. And with that, I also tend to use, let it focus again. I tend to use this. This is the Gorilla Pod. There are tiny ones. I kind of really want to get one of the tiny ones to put my phone on, but these are great because you can wrap the legs around things. Like I've used this outside and like wrapped it around fences or tree branches and things. And you can mount a camera to it, or you can have the little, you can just buy a little cell phone tripod mount, which is already on my other tripod right now. And I'll put it on here, tilt it to the side so that my camera is like portrait style instead of landscape, because it's so much harder to get yourself in a landscape photo, especially in a small space. The other thing I have learned, if you have an iPhone again, is if you take your photo, this is just the regular photo mode, not portrait. If you take your photo, you can, so if you swipe up to these options and go to the options here for the ratio, if you have it on this 4:3 one, it's like, whoops, sorry, it's very square. If you put on the 16:9, it's more of like a full screen model. And sometimes that distorts things, but if you have it on the 16:9 one, it takes more of a photo than what you see here. Like it actually takes like a wider photo. And then if you go into crop, so I'll just take one here. And then if I go into that photo and crop, so you can only see that much of the photo right now. If you go into here and you do freeform, you can actually see even more of the photo, and it makes it a wider photo. So that instantly, like if you say, if you cut your arm off or your leg off doing an arabesque or something, that saves you. It's saved me many of times. It also, if you crop it afterwards, like the first, if you take it in that 16:9 mode, it does look a little distorted sometimes. But then if you crop it down, it actually makes the photo look better, like the composition of the photo look better. I've just found that's what works for me. You can only do that on the regular photo mode though, not on portrait. So that's just a thought. So now we're gonna like set up some different scenario options of how you can take photos. Okay, so since I'm showing you options, the other thing is I have this little side table that I actually use as like, almost like a tripod too. Like that's where I'm actually gonna put this, so you guys can see the whole scene, but I'll just take all my stuff off of it, move it over here, and then you can set up just your phone on a little phone stand or something. I'm gonna set this on there so you guys can see the whole scene. We'll see how that goes. But you can just find things around your house to use. You don't have to like go out and buy a tripod or something. It is helpful to have a phone stand if you're gonna use your phone. I've learned that. All right, so this is fun. I just did a whole bit and I didn't press record. So I'm gonna do all of that all over again. So basically I've set you up here so you can kind of see the whole area of where I'm doing everything. So I've got, my phone is up there, up on this little ledge, and then I've kind of got it lined up with my mirror so that what I'm doing in the mirror is what I'm seeing on the phone too. So I'm gonna show you now. So if I were to use my phone, what I'm gonna do is I set it in this little phone stand that I got off Amazon, and then I face it away from me because the back camera is always gonna be so much better than the front facing camera, and you don't want that. If you're taking photos in lower light, which this is still considered lower light, indoors, things like that, and you try to edit it later, even without editing, you're gonna see more grain and noise in the photos. It's not gonna look as sharp or as clear because of that. The other thing to watch with the iPhones is that you don't want to use the wide angle lens, because that also, unless you are outside, it looks very grainy and noisy. And you know, sometimes we can't go outside. I have a lot of cicadas issues right now, and I also don't really have anywhere here I can take photos outside. So, yeah. Anyway, so what I'm gonna show you is, so now I have, let's see if I can get this to focus. Oh, good. I have it set up so that the camera is on my screen. So I'll hit that. It'll open the camera on my phone. And so now you can see what I see. And then if I want to take a photo, I'd hit that circle and it counts down and it buzzes your wrist at the same time. And then it takes the 10 shots. You can do it on portrait mode as well. It just won't take the 10 shots. You can also adjust your focus on the watch too. So you can do that. And I'm going to show you. I already did these, but I'll do them again because I didn't record earlier. I would also suggest warming up before you do this. I have not warmed up, but yeah, we're honestly just impressed that I'm taking a video. So I'm just doing this simple pose, which honestly is my favorite anyway. And I just realized I had my camera angled weird. I'd rather it get more than that. It's getting like the coffee table in, which I don't want that. So I'd rather have it over, maybe get over a little bit more. Okay. We'll take it again. And you can hear the sound that it's taking. And you can do it from the back too. It doesn't matter if you can see it or not. And so you can just keep taking photos and you can feel when it's going to go. So that's one option. Close that. And now I'm going to set up my tripod for the camera because I'm pretty sure I'm going to need a longer distance than setting my camera up here on the, it won't get all of me and I'm probably going to have to do a portrait style, so I need it on the tripod. So I'll be right back with that. Okay, so now you can see my camera's over here. I apologize, I am trying to speak loud without obviously like annoying my neighbors. With this camera, I can't attach any mic because this camera doesn't have a mic port. But also I can't use the new lav mic I got because it would be attached and I have a hard time moving around if something's attached. So for this purposes, I can't. But you can see my camera set up over here, and I did turn it sideways so that the camera is doing a portrait mode photo because that's how you're gonna get all of me in. Another thing I've seen other people do that I've talked to that has worked for them but has not worked for me because of my lower light issues in here is taking videos on your phone and then screenshotting the parts that you like. I know a lot of dancers that do that. That just hasn't worked for me because I want the super good quality, which you can take. I think Ashley Garter was the one who told me if you take the iPhone videos in the 4K and then you just screenshot, that's actually what I do when I'm in class if I want videos, because it does give me some option for that. But again, you have to have really good natural light, which she does in her house. I don't have that, so if I do it, it's gonna look really grainy and messed up, and we just don't want that. So I'm not loving my outfit choice here, but it is what it is. So we're gonna take some on the camera now, and I'm gonna set up the custom timer that I already have set up. So it's gonna be 12 seconds, 14 photos, each about, I think, a half second apart is what I have it set at. And you just kind of move around while you do it. I'm gonna put on autofocus tracking and see how that works. Again, it's kind of just trial and error for a lot of these things. So. Oh, and I said, it's set on my custom timer. That's not on custom timer. So I'm gonna set that on. Okay. We're gonna set it on. I can also, mine's a touch screen, so I'm gonna touch on me and see if it helps it to keep readjusting to me. If I scoot further away, we're gonna hope it holds focus on me. This looks ridiculous, I know, but it works. Sometimes you just gotta stop in the middle. Oops. That did not work at all, and I know that. I might need to bump up the time in between shots too, because that was not enough to move around, but that's where you just kind of gotta play around with it and see what works best for you. So let's see if I got any. If the focus got me at all, we'll see. Okay, so that focusing did not work. We're just gonna do it without letting it focus on me first and just focus on the background. It just is what it is. That's probably the best way it's gonna stay focused on me. So. It goes fast, so you can set it up with much more of a gap in between. I probably would recommend that, actually. And these ones were in focus. Now the harder part about using a camera is I didn't always nail all of those shots, so you're probably just gonna have to take a lot more. So now I'm gonna show you how to take some more like close-up-y ones. We'll see how this goes. Okay, so I've changed because I didn't like my look before, and this is something else I recommend. Change your outfit while you're taking photos. You know, give yourself some variety in your photos. That way, if you don't feel like taking photos every day, you'll go, oh look, but I took these other photos that look slightly different and I can use these. I do it all the time. Plus, sometimes I can't decide what's gonna look good. Like I put an outfit on and I go, I'm not loving how these photos are turning out. Put on a different skirt, different leotard, and the photos are great. So just change it up. So I put a tutu on because I thought that looked kind of cute with the spirit jersey. So I also put different point shoes on. I put some of my good pairs on, so we'll see. It's hard for me to show all of these like super creative ideas, like how I've photographed them when I don't have someone helping me film, because I kind of have to keep hoping that you can see what I'm doing. So one of the things I do, again, I use my phone more than my camera for my own stuff, just because it's easier for me to take my own photos when I can use the watch and things like that. It's just easier for me to set that up too, because if I'm just setting my phone on this, it's very easy. So what I will do sometimes is if I want to take like close-up portrait shots of my feet or something, I will set like, let's see, I'm trying to angle this so you guys can see it too. So, oops, and then we will portrait mode, and then you kind of got to just check where you are. And I do like to put my mirror behind it, so my mirror's behind me right now, because then I can see in my mirror what the phone is seeing. So I can tell that a tutu is now in the photo kind of thing. And then if I open it on my watch, which I'm doing right now, and I click, I can see where it's telling me to move closer, and now it says I'm in focus. So you can see me clicking the focus there. And then I'll take the photo. And that's just one. You can also do like perspective shots, like if I were to sit down like this. And you kind of just gotta play around with how it looks. I can't tell exactly how it's gonna look. I don't have the best feet for these photos. I wish I did, because they look so cool. But I can do one like this, where it focuses on the shoe in the front and not the rest of me. And it's a cool perspective shot. I don't know if it's, sometimes it keeps kind of deciding further away, closer. See, then it switches as I try to take it. So I don't know. But anyway, so you can do stuff like that. You can do things with, like I've done a lot of shots where I've used multiple pairs of point shoes, and you can just lay them around. You lay them on the floor near you, stack them behind you for a little bit of extra scenery. You can use fairy lights. I'm not great at that, but some people have made it look so cool when they use them. So you can do things like that. I'm trying to think of what else. There's just a lot of like options. Like you can do motion in the tutu. It's not gonna work. Like when I photographed my skirt from Lena, the pink beautiful tulle skirt, I did a lot of motion type shots. Let's see if I do camera. We're gonna see how this works. I don't feel like changing my lens on my camera. So, I also have a giant tripod. Let's see. Hang on. I'm gonna take my camera down here, or tripod down, so that I can take some closer up shots on this. Which generally, honestly, it might even need to go all the way down, to be honest. It's kind of, again, you got to play with where things are and how it looks. So I'll try and move you back so you can see it. So I've kind of got the camera set up here. Always make sure that your strap is not in the way of your camera. And then I can film straight on that direction. In this case, though, I almost might film into here because it looks cooler. So we'll see. I love this tripod because of this like grip on it. It's the best because it makes it so easy to do this and tilt it, and it holds my camera. Like, this is not a light camera. It holds my Canon 5D as well with the 85 on it, and that is not a light camera. So then I'll need to adjust my settings because that is really bright. And see, this is where I don't want that light on because it's causing a glare on the sign. But if I turn it off, it gets really dark. But because I'm shooting on a camera, I can generally lighten it up to the point that it looks pretty good. I actually want to take this down lower though, so we're gonna readjust here. Okay, so I changed up a little bit. I moved the camera to vertical wise because actually when it's this low on the tripod, apparently the tripod does not like that. I bought a whole lighting set with these lights, but you can plug in, set up behind something to give you light. It's kind of like a ring light, but further away. They came up with little umbrellas to diffuse the light a little bit too, but I still feel like most of the time these add too much shadow. So I prefer to just lighten the photos afterwards, but I'll show you what that looks like in a minute. So I am going to pull the screen out so I can see myself. And angle it down. And then in the back of my shot, you've got the bucket of point shoes, which I might pull closer for this. It just looks cooler. Put on the side here. And then the tutus are cool. So I can even like spread them out a little bit more. Give it more, you know, to the photo. And then I can't see what I'm doing in this photo. So that's the only downside to not using my phone. So now we're gonna just go ahead and, oops. Custom timer on. Photos. Yes, this is my go-to for everything. Doesn't always look good either. And I might try and scoot closer. I can't see what this looks like though, so that's the only problem. Or do like a oh, it's already done. Sometimes if you lean over, it gets more of the tutu in. So those are just options. You can obviously do flat lays with all of this too. I actually have an idea for what I want to do. I just not doing it yet. It's a surprise. But oh, I'm gonna plug in this light just to show you. If I plug it in and turn this light on, it does give a lot of extra light in there, but it could still cause glares and shadows. And obviously if I move it closer, it gives more light. But the issue is I don't want it to cause any like glares on the poster back there because that just looks bad to me. So, okay. So hopefully this is helpful. I'm gonna do a second follow-up video on editing the photos, like when it's dark. You can see I turned lights on in here because this is a very dark apartment. It just is, it sucks, but it is. Hopefully that's helpful. And hopefully you could hear me well since I had to keep walking away from the camera to do it. But yeah, let me know if you have any more questions or if you want more stuff like this, because I can do others like this as well. I enjoy combining photography with ballet and dance. That's like my favorite things. So yeah, I'll edit some of these and put them in there where I took them, but also I will do a whole video on how I edit them and brighten them as well. So that's all I have for today. Bye.